S&P made a new high yesterday. When we opened, we popped above that 258.5. A quick little test and consolidated above there for over an hour. Made a little bit of a run into the end of the to the end of the day to 259. So very low volatility environment, just making new highs regularly on the S&P. 259 is a level to watch where we failed in the afternoon yesterday. 258.5, Friday's high, where we held above yesterday morning.
Valiant CEO saying he does see potential for volume growth in 2018.
IWM, a little bit different, right? So IWM, I can't recall if I pointed this out in yesterday's morning meeting. I think I did. For the last month plus, it's closed between 150 and 148. So we did see that loosening up in volatility. Now we're seeing the compression the last 3 days.
But a little more than a half hour now to the U.S. cash equity open. Equity futures have bounced from the pre-market lows. We're back in positive territory on the day, 25.89 in the S&P.
Pay attention if we start to hold above 149.35 on IWM. That'd be a little bit different. That would bring the top of the range into play. And I would pay attention if we're consolidating below 148 in a quarter.
25.85.
You can kind of see the compression of the volatility after this big down day. Following the big down day, we haven't taken out the high from the next day. We tried a couple of times yesterday. Strong bid here at 48.30. So that the first day off the little bounce here, the next morning. Tried to roll over to it, but got bid up about 10 cents higher yesterday. So this is kind of the band to pay attention to on the downside. Nice tight consolidation. Under 0.5%, probably 35 basis points or something. Yeah, so any strong move this way or strong move this way, consolidate, look to see if we follow through. But you can trade either one of those. A break outside of this last 3 days range, consolidate, and then a break from consolidation in the direction of the initial break is a high probability trade. All right, we got a few things in play. VRX, big move to the upside. The analysts don't seem to really have a good handle on their earnings power. The numbers were much, much larger than guidance. And obviously this is, we talk about this sector pretty regularly. Specialty pharma, so being down, they were the leader in the sector. Went from a $250 stock to under 10. In the last couple of years, it's been kind of moving. Has it been that long? It's been moving. I guess the last really year, it's been consolidating below 20.
CBOT announcing a partnership with Google Cloud. Charlie Victor Lima Tango.
This is kind of the first potential resistance. It's about $0.50 above where it's trading now. So if we look at it, had a really nice move, doubled off the low, which for a beaten down stock, you get that quite often, more often than you would think. Most times it drifts down lower. The question is, can it put in a higher low? It's done that now. I think the low was 9, 8.5, 9, something like that. It's the higher low at 11. And we're now gapping to 14 this morning. I think if you get some closes for like a week above, you spend a week up in this area here, I'd be pretty bullish for it. Then you'd want to play it for a move back up to $17, $18. So it seems less and less likely that they're going to go out of business. But we'll know that for sure when it kind of, if you look up, it's back in the 20s in the next year or two. So for today. Here's the initial reaction on the big number. Here's your second move. So first thing we want to do is We talked about the longer term resistances up here, 1450, 1460. It's fine to look for a pop to that right on the open. If it fails to even pop up to that area, then it comes back down below 14, and then you see it below 1380. You want to play it for a move back into this after-hours support, right? Is this after-hours? Pre-market? No, it's pre-market. So this is where we're supporting at 7 o'clock this morning at 13.5. So that would be the first trade. And then if it found a bid there and came back up, and made a lower high, and got below 13.5, then you would just, play it for a move all the way back down. Numbers look really good. Probably caught some people off guard, so I wouldn't expect this is the most likely thing to come all the way back down here. But we'll just go with the price action because it does have a history of failing pretty badly and having some pretty nasty reversals. Consolidation above 1380, and then takes out, let's say it has a tight consolidation around 14 on the open, and makes a high, play it for a move to 1450, 1460, see what happens. Next one is Weight Watchers. So we got to look at the daily on this one to kind of put this in context. So Oprah got involved a couple of years ago. It caused this big move, and it went from $6 to almost $30, and she just didn't have a short-term impact on the numbers. But then for next year, it just based at $10, and her influence kicked in. Right here, this was the first signal. Tested the gap, had the gap fill, tested it, and then took out the 20, and that's it. It's been an uptrend ever since. It's had a couple of down moves, but you can see more than doubled in the last year. And now we're gapping above our numbers. I mean, they actually just crushed the numbers. They raised guidance. And so the question becomes, has it gone too much too quickly? So what does that look like? So July. So here we are, 3.5 months later, 40, 25% in 3 months. I could see it spending some time above 50. Many years ago, it was higher. Back in 2012, it was an $80 stock. Oprah got it to break out of this downtrend.
We report that SSE are in continuing talks with Innogy, trading in the UK, about creating a new independent company.
So first thing I'd want to see, if it's gonna be real strong today, quickly right on the open, you want to see support in the 50 area.
IGY.
Let's call it 49.60 to 50.
You go Yankee.
Right here. If it supports there and then gets back above 50.50, we'll see maybe it goes 51, 52, something like that. That's a pretty big move. So ideally, would kind of settle down and move sideways in a kind of a $2 range for a few days, hold the gap, then you'd look for the continuation to the upside. What does profit taking look like this? If they want to just take the profit, it'll quickly go below 50. It'll have trouble holding back above. You'll see a move probably into 40, 48. But I'd be careful being short. If it came back into 48, it's a pretty good pullback from the high there. I'd be careful about being short down in this area right here. I'd be looking for it actually to pop back up to this area right here. Normally trades 1 million shares a day. It's going to do a lot more than that today. It should do at least 5 million shares today, so it should be pretty liquid. The next one is CRM. They updated guidance. This is a new all-time high. Here's the daily on this one. And they didn't even report earnings. They just updated guidance. And we talked about this theme yesterday, which we were seeing. We saw it in Facebook and Apple. And regardless of how good the numbers are, and even if after the days following earnings, if they catch a bid and start going back up, initial gaps are being sold. It's slightly different in that it's just updated guidance and not the actual earnings, but it is up $3. 105 right now. It was as high as 106. Let's zoom in. Only done 46,000 shares. I would just use that 105 as an inflection. But I'm perfectly happy if it's holding below 105. They'll play on the short side, see if it fills this. The numbers did look good. So this is really just about the pattern, that more common pattern we've seen lately. If it fails at 105 and comes into this area here where it was being bought after the initial reaction, 103.80, that may be a spot where it tries to go back up and test 105 again. Trip is just ugly, but this one's down a ton now. It's mainly down a ton because the growth really just is decelerated. A great company, makes a lot of money. Everyone uses TripAdvisor, and it was just, it tried not to go down. I'm just looking at the size of this channel as it was going down. It would have these big bounces, but eventually the sellers took over below 50, and it's erased most of this breakout here from 47. It's below 40 now. So I put none as support, really, because I don't think people who are along this stock were in it from way back in 2012. And it's gapping below this 35.60 right now. The interesting thing to me is, does a catch a bid actually fill this gap?
Has ruled on a Unilever collusion case.
Let's take a look. So here it is. It tried to bounce off of the kind of the low right here in the after hours. Actually bounced up $1. Now we're below it. The further it gets from 35.60, maybe it comes off another $1, 33.5, 33. Your better your risk reward gets on a bounce back up to this spot. And so let's see where it bottoms right on the open. Let's see if it gets below 34. I would use this kind of as my inflection for a bounce. If it's holding below 34 and you want to be shorted, that's fine. But if it starts to get back above 34, makes higher lows, this is the spot right here where you want to play for the bounce, and then see. Maybe it'll be a situation where because it's down 65% from the high. I'm not going to talk about Priceline. I'm sorry. It's just too wide a spread, and 90% of the people, 95% of the people listening to this aren't going to trade it. But the reason why we're talking about Trip is same sector, right? The Trip is going to be tradable. So use this as the inflection. If it gets back above, gets above 34, and then gets above 34.50, play for a bounce up into this area right here. Next one is Coors. Coors was pretty much best case yesterday. It did initially fail at 30.55 the first time it got there. Came off to 53.80, tested it a few times, closed at the high. Here's the daily. People have been bullish on this one for a while. Remember, there's a difference between, even though they probably have a few stores, there's a difference between brands and department stores, right? Department stores are getting their lunch handed to them by Amazon. Brands themselves can be distributed on Amazon or many other, online, through other sources. So brands can make comebacks versus, Macy's, which is probably never going to come back. And we started talking about it when it gapped above 40 this quarter here. It did come back in, but pretty much once it broke this downtrend, focus has been on. It's made a really solid comeback, and people are going to start to think about probably $58 now, 58 to 60. Could take another month to get there, 2 months, but that's what people are probably thinking about. That high from back in March of 2016. If on the open it gets above 55 and fails and you see below 54.80, nothing wrong with playing on the short side back into yesterday's support area. And then we'll see. Does it get bought at 54 to 53.80 again? First move is up and it's consolidating above 55. You do want to be focused on the long until it fails at that key level, yesterday's high. The next is AMD. This trade worked on the open for me. Shorted it, just like we talked about in the morning meeting, on the failure at 12. Couldn't hold below 70 cents. Tried a few times. Did make some lower highs. And then eventually reversed out of this. I think I had a trailing stop to cover some. Then I had a script that got me short right at the end of the day again, I think above 95 cents. Covered some of it in the after hours, but really the script was there to short a failure earlier in the day. And so I come in short a little bit from this end of the day script at 95 cents. Looking at it today, you kind of have this pullback support area at 70 cents. You also have 1180 we're consolidated above into the close. And then obviously 12 to 1210. I continue to focus on the short side because I don't think that that deal is meaningful for them. Although people didn't really seem to pick up on that yesterday. But it was beaten down over the last couple of weeks. That may be why. HZMP, here's a good example of one that didn't work. Bought it into the daily support at 13.5 here and got stopped out. Went all the way down to 13. I think I had to stop below 13.40. So I got stopped out here. Wasn't really watching around the desk, I don't think, when it started to hold back above 13.40. This was the spot to buy it back. And then confirmation of the reversal was right here when it took out 13.75. Trended all the way almost back to 14.5. With VRX strong this morning, wouldn't surprise me if they popped it to 15. So just a good example of trading being a numbers game. This was a good, I thought, very good play buying into this. Stopped. That's fine. If you're sitting on the desk all day, there were opportunities to buy it back when it got back above the stop level or when it broke out above this 13.75. As I said, VRX could get it to pop to 15. It's okay to trade it, play it on the short side into failure at 15. I wouldn't be looking for that big of a move, maybe 60, 70 cents, something like that for this area here. Apple. So Apple's an example of one that worked really well. Bought it right on the open below 172. And so we talked about it had the big down move, even though the way it was acting after it reported in the numbers looked like it wasn't going to have this big down move. It did catch a really nice bid, was bid up most of the rest of the day. And we had this kind of 170, here, here's the markup from the morning meeting. This area here right below 172 was kind of the flush I wanted. Got it. What you want to see, though, is when something flushes into an area you're looking at, is you want to see it quickly get back above and hold above, which it did. Again, second day plays, we teach them in Winning Trader, we teach them on the desk. They're the highest percentage plays. You get so much information in the first day. You find areas to be short or long with 30 cents of risk and can turn into multiple points. In this case, it went almost $3. I only played it on the long side up until, I think, 174. Then it had one final, actually this was a pretty big leg. I got aggressively shorted here. As it came back down to 174.20, I had scripts in to cover. I was not on the desk, so I didn't want to automatically flip it back to the long side here. But this is why, you can see this is why I had scripts to cover into this, was when it went up, it just kept on bidding here around 174.20 for about 5 minutes, and then it just exploded. And so had bids in the 30s, bids in the mid 20s, and this is exactly where if you were looking to catch a move back up to the high, this is kind of the spot where you would look, where you'd start to look 174.20 all the way down into 174. Other people were thinking that, obviously, and that's why it bounced back up almost to the high. Today, you just have to kind of raise your same thing. This would be this is the area where I'm looking. I already have my script in to buy it. It's actually already right down there. So right on the open, if it flushes, oh, there you go. So where did I put my script? I think I have it at 174, 173.85, something like that. So when I finish the morning meeting, I'll buy a little bit, but not too aggressive, because this is, if you look at this, this is a very big vertical move. But what I'd like to see is, if I buy it, is it then holding back above 174.30 and see what it does at 175.
Hope you enjoyed that video. You can actually watch that video if you're subscribed to our Trader 90 before the market even opens. What stocks are in play? What levels in those stocks are important? and how we might go about attacking that stock. That's Steve Spencer, 20-year veteran trader, laying it out there every morning before the market even opens. A really, really powerful tool to start your session off on the right foot. So right now we're offering a trial that you can take advantage of to access this meeting and other meetings throughout the day. We have a meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern where you can sit down with Mike Bellafiore and listen to him talk about what's going on during the morning session, what stocks were in play, what the best trade opportunities were, as well as maybe some things that we're looking at heading into the afternoon session. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that trial.